Scott Hub Media with Craig from Cousins Cooling and Heating on the Queensway in Simcoe. It's the September show. How are you, bud?
Great. Thank you as always for having me. I always really appreciate you allowing me to be on here, and I can't believe it's September already.
I know, where did it go? And it went quick again. The one part I do enjoy with you too, I enjoy the whole thing, but one of the things that really always gets me is your insight, and I appreciate that. And you and I off air were talking about marketing, sales, and sort of I don't think enough people understand the information that goes out. When you and I talk, or when you put your ad in, it's a simple contract: do it or don't do it.
Yes.
It's an open and closed case. But in a lot of cases, with the stuff that you're dealing with, and HVAC and all that, there's fine print, there's everything. And what I wanted to talk to you today about was just that information. How do you dissect it, and what is misinformation in your industry?
Great question, Dave. And we have seen an abundance of this year already. So, first and foremost, my industry, the HVAC industry across Canada, is down. That's a fact. So, people are getting hungry. So, when businesses are getting hungry and working, we're seeing a lot of what I like to call misleading information or ads out there. We're seeing some very aggressive ads for indoor air quality, water heaters, new heat pump, new air conditioner, new furnace. And they're good ads and the pricing looks good on paper. But when you sit down and do the math on the back end, there's so many hidden fees that are in here where customers are now all of a sudden paying a substantial amount more than what they were anticipating. And now they're locked in on some sort of a legal term or legal agreement. And when they want to get out of it, they can, but it costs them X amount of thousands of dollars to get out of it, only to be left with no equipment. So now you're even further in the hole. And we are seeing this in such a broad spectrum. We're even seeing, which we haven't seen in quite some time, but in our industry, we're seeing specific contractors now, and it's not just my industry, where it actually says right on the trucks, installation company only. So, quick example, there's some equipment that is in my industry that gets around the manufacturing guidelines because it's imported and exported from overseas areas. And a customer who potentially was looking at us went with this other company. He installed his equipment. It hasn't even been 5 months and the unit failed. They call us out because the guy he got it from was installation company only, wants us to honor the 5-year warranty. Well, the 5-year warranty is based on the manufacturer from where it came from overseas. There is no distributor here, meaning there is no parts. So who is now responsible to get a hold of them to honor the parts warranty? Is not a company, is not a something that my company or any reliable HVAC company can get a hold of to now reach out to some overseas foreign area to speak their native tongue to try and fight for the warranty for them. And this is becoming very abundant. And then they go back to the original person who they got to install it, and their response says right on our trucks, installation company only, find somebody else. And so we have that going on with, and they're buying this equipment for cheaper. So it gives a more aggressive rate out there. So yeah, just the buyout price is lower, but these are the issues we're dealing with. Or you can go with domestic equipment, which is on a monthly plan. But then we come to find out that there's hidden back end fees of, like the one contract was $25 a month service fee. Well, that's built in. So now your monthly payment of whatever they're advertising goes up by $25 a month there. Plus then the interest gets on there. Plus, so it keeps adding up. So the initial dollar amount is very attractive. And I understand where people come from and say, hey, Craig, this is looking pretty good over here. And I say, yeah, you know what, it is. But then when push comes to shove to that final signature, when we get the total payments done up, it is significantly more that they're paying a month than what was expected. And now they're paying significantly more for product than they should be in our industry. It has just exploded, and everything from indoor air quality to products such as air filters, UV lights, to water heaters, to furnaces, to heat pumps, to air conditioners. Everything across the spectrum right now is being done. And I'm also seeing it within other trades as well, too. Where some of these ads are some very respectable other trade companies that we deal with, local plumbers and wholesale electricians. They're seeing it as well too on our end. And I'm not really sure exactly why. maybe just business is down for everybody across the board right now as Canada's adjusting, but homeowners are getting in over their head on stuff as they're being unfortunately misled. Um, they're saying, look at the left hand because I don't want you to know what the right hand's doing back here when you finally get the total amount.
Is the quality of part, obviously, when you're getting a piece that's from overseas, is the quality as good? Like, it sounds to me like there's obviously a quality question here, and you're probably going to end up dealing with a lot of knockoff parts.
Exactly. No,
So
so it's interesting because in North America we have certain manufacturing standards that come into play for multiple different reasons. Whether it's a furnace and it comes into play with using natural gas and safeties, or whether it's on the air conditioning side and we're looking at changing refrigerants to be more environmentally friendly. So there's also adjustments going in with the quality of manufacturing to make sure it can withstand these changes. That is not happening with our overseas products. So yes, definitely the product is
what do
not.
you mean? Wait a minute. What do you mean? It doesn't have to meet the same standard?
No, because it's being imported and exported. So because it's physically not being assembled or manufactured here, it doesn't have to meet our guidelines, and it comes in and gets unloaded and is distributed out there into our market.
So it's probably not energy efficient.
Correct. And it
It's
doesn't.
probably, you can't get parts.
Correct. And the new
What the
refrigerant that we
hell?
use in
Like,
air
I mean, as
conditioners.
the
Yeah,
government should be on this.
it is something that's been brought to the attention. I know through talking with my local CFIB, that's been brought up, and apparently it's been brought up not just from my industry, but from multiple industries, from the auto section to appliances to multiple other sections. That these are some of the things when, um, you know, manufacturing guidelines and mandates. When the product is not made here, doesn't need to meet it, but it's importing, exporting goods that are allowed for certain reasons. And those reasons, I don't know. But we are seeing it. And, there is the establishments that are offering this equipment are typically are not long-term established companies that have been around for quite a while, but it's out there. And this is where, sadly, somebody will come to me and say, hey, Craig, we went with so-and-so, they were $600 cheaper. And I say, okay, I'm really sorry that we lost your business, but I get it. $600 is $600, right? And then here we are, less than 5 months later, and now this poor family has been without air conditioning for over 2 weeks. As the parts, we don't even have parts available that we could, for lack of better terms, MacGyver to make this unit work, to at least get them going until we could figure it out because of the design of this equipment. So it's not even like, oh well, you could just use this and make this and then build something to make the two talk to each other. It doesn't even allow us to do that.
As a consumer, I'm kind of pissed about that because I assumed everything had to have a certain standard of quality that it had to meet in this country. And you're right, because the average everyday guy thinks he can save 500-600, or girls $500 or $600 is going to
Mm-hmm.
do it.
Mm-hmm.
Problem is they're paying more in the end. Like,
Exactly, and there is certain parts that must be CSA approved,
approved.
certain
Yeah.
parts,
Yeah.
but there's a majority of parts that don't have to be. Certain things, as far as electrical connections, things of that, have to be for safety reasons. But as far as, quick example, the refrigerant we use today is much more environmentally friendly, but it's much higher pressure. Well, we find that these offshore units have a much thinner wall copper. So now we're going to take a new chemical refrigerant and we're going to take the pressure from 200 psi to 400 psi in a thinner walled unit.
Something's going to give.
Something's going to give in a much short time frame. Well, that equipment comes with a 5-year warranty. Yes, it does, but the manufacturer is overseas, and there's no distributor here that covers warranties. They're just a product going out the door. They don't parts or anything, so it's up to the consumer. The analogy that has been used in my industry is if you buy something off Amazon or Kijiji that the manufacturer has a warranty on it, it is up to you to contact that manufacturer for the warranty.
Right.
And this is essentially what's happening here. So there's concern there that we have seen this summer specifically on product quality and people being misled as far as what they're paying for. And the other major concern is people that are buying very good equipment who think that they're getting it for X number of dollars a month, but then quickly find out that, oh, that's not a 12-year or 10-year term, that's a 15-year term. And there's these other hidden fees in it. And now I'm paying X amount a month. And by the time the 15 years comes up, you've literally bought that system 3 times over.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, so we've helped a few people this year with that. And please, for anybody out there, whether you're not a customer of Cousins, but you're a customer of, say, another local good competitor, if you feel like you're in a bind, you have our government states under the Ontario Consumers Act. You have 90 days from the date that you sign any contracts that you are legally allowed to take action and get rid of this or change something, so that you're not locked in. Contact my local competitors if you're a customer of theirs, and they will happily help walk you through this stuff, because this is growing very vastly in our market, and it's very misleading. And it's very concerning to people today who are on a budget. And we went with this because this is a plan and it fits in our budget. And then just after signing the paperwork, and a week later, the work gets done and away we go. And then a month later, the first bill comes, and all of a sudden it goes the total opposite direction. And before you know it, by the time you react, you contact them, you go through the process, over 90 days has passed, and you're now locked in, and you're totally obligated for the next 15 years.
Yeah, I got so many questions here. First of all, walk me through how you would approach this. I mean, let's say I'm looking at a new system, new HVAC system. Do you tell the consumers, like, when you go out and you say, okay, here's what we can do, here's the price? Are they fully aware of all this other, this secondhand information that you're sharing with us? Like, are they aware of that, or do you make them aware of that, or how can we educate people to be more aware of that, I guess, is my question here.
I try my best to educate people without being, I don't want to throw any shade or any disrespect to any company out there. We're all working hard. We're all trying to find our way in the world. And there's companies of all sorts for all different customers out there that can meet. So I try my best to make people aware of things in the most respectful way that I can. But really, this goes back to, it is the responsibility of your contractor, myself, or any of my respectful competitors, just to let you know the ins and outs of certain things. Really, really quick example. I had a customer last week who wanted a quote on a tankless water heater, family of 5. I found out that I was the 4th person in giving a quote. I was very, very thankful. We did get the job. And the reason we got the job is they did not go with a tankless. They actually went with a tank, because I was the only one that said, hey, please be advised that a tankless water heater is like a high performance car. The more you use it, the more gas it consumes, but it runs as long as you want. So if you got 5 people showering, yes, you have endless amount of hot water, but the average water heater combusts at around 40,000 BTUs for 50 gallons. This tankless combusts at 150,000 for the entire duration that you're calling for hot water, whether it's your dishwasher, 5 people showering, or a washing machine doing clothes. Yeah. So I said, it's going to do everything you want to, but just be aware of your gas bill might adjust because of this. And they said I was the only one that told them that. It's a high performance vehicle, so you got to think it's high performance, meaning more gas. And that totally, when they sat down and looked at, okay, 3 kids in sports, my wife and I, we're taking showers all the time for personal hygiene. Plus we got clothes going all the time because the kids are in sports, plus normal stuff. It doesn't financially make sense for us because our gas bills are going to be astronomical. So they are a phenomenal piece of equipment in the right application. And this is where it's the respect of any good contractor to educate our customers on the specific equipment that we do. And this is where I try very hard. I know my really good competitors, they try very hard as well too. We did talk about on one of the previous shows about scams at the beginning of the summer. Contact us. We're here to happily just talk with you. If you got questions, concerns, even if you're with somebody else, and you just feel that you're unsure about a situation. I've had phone calls before where people call me and say, hey, I'm really worried about this, but I went with this company and not you. Is this okay? And I ask about a question and I say, yes, it is on the up and up. You're okay. I'm not here to badmouth anybody, and I try very hard not to. But like any industry, there's good and bad. And within our industry right now, with it being down across Canada, we are seeing some very drastic steps taken by a lot of the big players because they've got shareholders and different reasons why they've got to make sure their numbers hit. And some of those things that we're seeing, unfortunately, this year have led to some really misinterpretation and communication, and people being locked into long-term, very expensive contracts.
Okay, my last question then. What I want to talk to you about is this, because you brought up a really good point at the start of this conversation. You're a family on a fixed income, or you know what you can spend. Do you provide those opportunities? So let's say you're going to tell me this is 15,000. Do you work with any credit union, banks, or anything like that, so we could put this out over time?
Absolutely, yeah. We work with a great one called Finance It, is the one that we prefer. They're a partner with RBC, so very, very strong company, not going anywhere. And I like them for multiple different reasons. They have plans that you can do a 1 year all the way up to a 15-year finance. You can literally say, hey, Craig, we need a new system, but I'm on my budget and this is what I can spend a month. Oh, well, we can do this, and you can have it fully paid off in 6 years and 5 months. And that's what we're going to finance it for. So we can keep the term as short as you need, as long as you need. We can find the budgetary stuff, and we can also find equipment that is going to meet your comfort level, your demand, but also within your budget. Furnaces today, there's not a ton of options as far as offerings, single stage, two stage, modulating, but they all have to be 95% efficient minimum, and they all have to have an electronically controlled DC current motor. So, within there's some limitations, but there is availability of product to see. But it's really important to find out, and myself and my other good competitors, we come out and we actually test your static pressure, which would be like the blood pressure in your body. And we actually design the system based on what your home needs. And I've had more than enough houses I've gone into say, you don't need that 3-ton unit. I understand you want it, but based on what your ductwork's telling us, you can only push a maximum of 2 tons of air conditioning. So you've been buying a unit that's too big for years, because yes, I get why in your head you want it, but based on your veins, your ductwork in your home, it physically can't handle it. So that's why you're never getting that cold air at the furthest part of your home. So the price comes down because you don't need that oversized piece anymore, and it's going to work better.
So when you sign up for something long term like that, do you build in the maintenance plan? Because I know you have a great maintenance plan with that.
It depends on what the customer would like. We do build it in a lot, and we can have all that included. We can have it as a separate entity if that's something that's better for you for tax purposes, or if you've got income properties, we could set it up on a monthly basis. We can do just one annually. We have a full variety again, and so do my good competitors, but we have a full variety of options that we can find that meet, but that will give you something substantial and sustainable. The big thing today that a lot of people say is very common is, oh, HVAC equipment doesn't last like the old stuff. That's very true. It doesn't. I mean, the days of 30, 40-year-old equipment are gone. But in the last 30 to 40 years, we've put 30 to 40 new parts in it. And now instead of having literally furnaces that came with zero efficiency, because we didn't know what they were, we just knew it burned and away it went. Now we're running with equipment that is bare minimum 95% efficient. 95% of every dollar that goes through, you're getting back into your home. So we can find that and make it work. And we set it up properly, like I said, for sizing, so that we can get you 20 plus years.
Well, the investment in a new piece of equipment, probably considering how inefficient the old one was, you're probably getting that money back.
Absolutely.
Realistically, a portion of it anyway. And that's kind of the end goal, folks, is to make sure you get the best bang for your buck.
Yeah.
This is really interesting. I think I didn't know that you guys did that. That's the other part. I know we've sort of touched base on it before, but working with, what was the company name again with RBC?
Finance It.
Yeah, Finance. I mean, that in this day and age, I'm going to say probably 80% of the folks got to go that way.
It is.
It's an investment.
It is. It's become a big part, and there's multiple things I like about Finance It. One is that I can do it. All approvals are done on my phone, and the reason they're done on my phone is because it's sent through their app, so everything is secured. So I have no record of any of your private information. Yeah. 2, it's done and approved within less than 5 minutes, right there. And 3, the nice thing with Finance It is that because they're such a well-structured company and well-funded through partnering with RBC, is a lot of finance companies, understandably so, once you get approved for something, they put a lien against the home. Right. As it being there. Finance It doesn't put a lien against your home until you have 3 missed payments. So
We
if you
talked
need,
about this once before. Yeah.
yeah, so if you need to go and get extra credit because, oh shoot, we were doing this reno and all of a sudden my air conditioner went kaputski. Okay, well, I hope it doesn't affect the value that I can get for my reno. No problem. We can finance it through finance it and
Hmm.
get you a locked in lower, like a low rate with a low price, and it's not going to affect any of your credit and it's not going to be a lien against your property.
Great show today, Craig. Really appreciate you taking the time. Learned a lot like usual. I can't wait. I bet you in October we talk about getting ready for winter. Hmm.
I bet you. And in October, we'll talk about our random act of kindness. So
Oh,
always a
yeah, it's
pleasure
coming,
having
isn't
me
it?
on, Dave. I really,
I,
really appreciate
I
being
forgot all
here.
about that. You want to share anything on that before we get, or you want to wait till next month?
No, just that we're going to be gearing up. So please, to the community out there, don't forget it is coming up. The whole random act of kindness idea is simply based on you guys. We need you to nominate people that are in our community that are truly in need. Just remember, there's only 3 rules. 1, there's no cash value, but it's unlimited. If they need a furnace, they need a fireplace, a hot water heater, whatever. 2, you must be in Norfolk County. And 3, you can't nominate yourself. Other than that, if you know somebody in the area, we'll be gearing up to be taking all nominations, and you can do nominations as private as you want. You can do them publicly on our social media, whatever you're comfortable with. But we're getting ready, and again, there's no limitations. Whatever, find somebody that's truly in need that is a good community representative, and we're here to help.
Cool. Look forward to that. Take care.
Thanks, Dave.